up, YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet news video. Alright, so this one's not a leak video. I had the leak video planned for today, but then Nintendo was like, nah, man, we gonna drop some official information today. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. We have a statement from one of the higher ups at the Pokemon Company. They essentially saying that they hear our pleas, so that's pretty good. We also have previews for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the Indigo Disk. So this is something that they did for Teal Mask as well. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo flew a bunch of Pokemon influencers, flew them out to New York and allowed them to play the game early. Of course, I was not, flown out. I didn't get the memo, so I guess I'm not really a PokeTuber. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get on into it. Of course, you want to continue getting videos like this from me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, do all that good stuff that YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me. Follow me at twitter.com/rsmario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I will shout you out at this portion of the video. Let's get right on into it. Alright, so starting off with the news from the top of the Pokemon Company. So, UK news publication The Guardian has published an interview with Pokemon COO Takato Utsunomiya. So basically, they asked him what was up with the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, we all know what happened with Scarlet and Violet's launch. It was basically because the game, there's two problems with the launch. The game did not get cooked long enough, basically meaning they launched the game out too fast. And two, it is launching on very limited hardware in the Nintendo Switch. Alright, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on the fact that if this game launched on a better console, it would have performed better. Alright, maybe not perfect, it would have still had bugs, but some of the other performance issues like the slowdown, the frame rate drops, all that stuff comes from like bottlenecking and the fact that the system is just not powerful enough to play this particular game. But that's just me though, alright? I'm just saying, But then the quote from Mr. Utsunomiya, he says that regardless of whether we publicly respond or not, we're always paying very close attention to the feedback and conversations happening in the communities. Utsunomiya says there are certain aspects where we can't always be 100% aligned with what parts of the community are asking for and what we want to provide, but we do this with the desire to keep Pokemon going for a very long time. I believe that fans and players are aligned with us in that respect. So basically saying that, we hear what you're saying. We can't do everything that you would like us to do because, some of the stuff is just not really feasible. And then some of the stuff is just not good for Pokemon. People who are like, oh, I want like active time battles. Every franchise, I've heard this. You don't know how many times I've heard people to say that they wanted to get rid of the turn-based battling. I want to tell you something. If you don't like turn-based battling in RPGs, I want you to look at Final Fantasy and look at what Final Fantasy's been going through since they got rid of turn-based battles. Final Fantasy 16 is awesome, but there's still people complaining about the fact that it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. And I think if they ever got rid of the turn-based battles in Pokemon, I think it would have the same effect. You know what I'm saying? They just wouldn't feel like Pokemon anymore. You know what I'm saying? But that is what it is. So tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think they're actually listening to us? Or is this just like, this is just like what all CEOs or COOs or executives say? Oh, we're listening to your feedback, even though they actually aren't. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Now we get to the real stuff. We get to the previews of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Indigo Disk. What they're basically saying is Indigo Disk feels like the quintessential third game. So like, kind of like what Platinum was to Diamond and Pearl, essentially. So we start off the preview. It says each Elite Four member will also have an Elite Four challenge. So essentially, kind of like the Gym Leader challenge, where like, oh, you have to do some kind of puzzle or some kind of thing, and before you're able to fight the Gym Leader, and there might be trainer battles in between that. Something similar to that with the Elite Four, or the BB League, essentially, which is a puzzle one will have to complete before challenging the trainer themselves. During our preview, we faced Amari's challenge, which saw us ride on the back of Koraidon in order to fly through some hoops. Now, I've seen this, and I'm going to be honest, it reminds me of Superman 64. You know, when he was flying through the... Just a little bit better, all right? It's not as bad as Superman 64, but the flying is kind of slow. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's just for the preview build, because from what I've heard is that you're going to be able to fully fly in this in this DLC. You're going to get like a supplement or like a Herba Mystica that's going to allow you to fly, full-blown fly in this DLC. Hopefully that's the case. That's the rumor anyway. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It looked like Superman 64. I'm just gonna say that now. It just reminded me of Superman 64. This part was fairly easy, which we assume was a cruel joke to set us up for the absolute smackdown we took at the hands of Amaris' team. We can't talk about the specifics here, but it was both incredibly strong and battled us with AI that was more sophisticated and punishing than anything in a Pokemon game in years. The Indigo Disk feels like an area that would have been added in the third release in a generation back in the handheld days. The most significant DLC so far, the wild areas were an enjoyable way to collect old friends and seem to be full of new trainers and battles and puzzles. So that's pretty awesome, to be honest. I've heard some other details from some other previews, like the fact that most of the battles in the terrarium are double battles, so they're like VGC style double battles, and that the trainers use like advanced tactics, like double intimidate, you know what I'm saying, or they use like specific hold items that are really good in like VGC. So basically, this is like the new game plus, you know what I'm saying, or like maybe not new game plus, but like the end game area of choice. You know what I'm saying, where you get harder trainer battles and stuff like that, which to me seems really awesome. All right, now the only downside is I already kind of have my team ready for Indigo Disk. Now it looks like I might have to go in, because I had a team that was in like the 50s, right? Ready for Indigo Disk, and so now I think I might have to go ahead and grind out a little more. I might have to grind out a little bit more to build them suckers up. You know what I'm saying? Cause it look like this junk will be crazy. You know, another thing that they've said is the terrarium is pretty much what you expect. It's a big simulated biome that is separated into 4 parts with different ecosystems in it. And each of the ecosystems have different Pokemon, but they're Pokemon that you really can't find most other places in Paldea. So you've got like a lowland Geodude, or you have like a lowland what's the ice sand slash? They got that one in there. You know what I'm saying? They have the Alolan Executor, which we've seen in shots and pictures of things. So they have stuff like that, but they also have the regular versions of those Pokemon in different terrariums. So it kind of makes you think, like, how does the evolution work here? Or did they just go and get these Pokemon and just release them into the terrarium? That's what it seems like. They just kind of went and got these Pokemon and they just kind of released them there. And so they just kind of live there, you know, which is weird, but it's cool at the same time. There's also a lot of in-game items that you could find in the Indigo Disk. So there's like a lot of like Terra Shards and, you know, XP candies and like evolution items, which so far in Scarlet and Violet is a good and a bad thing. I think one of the bad things about Scarlet and Violet was that you could just find so much stuff laying around. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how many like potions and Pokeballs and evolution stones and stuff that you just find just everywhere. So it almost makes going to the Pokemart irrelevant sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because I already got like, oh, well, you know, just on my way here, I found like 10 potions on the ground. So, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm kind of good, you know. One of the biggest things about the preview that got me was the upgrades. So essentially the new moves. So Cerebe's preview, he says, I did get a look at some of the new technical machines that are being introduced in the Indigo Disk. There is a mix of returning moves and TMs like Expanding Force, Triple Axle, Skitter Smack, Skitter Smack, you know what I'm saying, Meteor Beam, you know, Breaking Swipe, Scorching Sands, Curse, Coaching, Electro Web, which is pretty cool by the way, and more, as well as some new moves, including the world's reveal of Upper Hand and Psychic Noise, which I'm trying to remember, like, are those tied to like the Paradox Pokemon, or are they just completely new moves for like any Pokemon regardless? Because I feel like those are like signature moves for something. As well as some new moves like Supercharged Cell and Hard Pass, which is a steel move which does more damage the higher the target's hit points. These are competitive moves. These competitive moves play on the battle focus that Blueberry Academy has, and really makes me intrigued to see where it will take competitive strategies over the next year or so. See, this is the thing that I like about like DLCs or third games or sequels or whatever. This stuff like this, just these type of competitive additions. One reason why Platinum is like one of my favorite Pokemon games ever is because of just how much it changed competitive from DP to Platinum. Like, if you go back and play like some of the old metas, like on Smogon or whatever, like there is almost a night and day difference between DP and like Platinum. You know what I'm saying? As far as the meta goes, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's super crazy. So tell me what you think down in the comments down below. Do you think that the that Indigo Disk is looking really good? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that these are paid shills and they're just shilling for another broken game? Which, by the way, they did say that this did not improve the performance that much. You know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, I could definitely understand, because I think at this point, most of the performance issues are coming from the fact that it's on the Switch. I think as far as bugs go, like, in the beginning where it was just, like, god-awful bugs, like Bethesda-level bugs, I think that was mostly fixed now. You know what I'm saying? I think most of the performance issues just come from being on a very old console. But tell me what you think in the comments down below. Like, comment, like, comment, subscribe, and see you tomorrow for the big leak video.